Hey guys, it's M4J here, and welcome back to Transport Fever 2. If I sound slightly out of breath, it's because I walked the 10 yards between the living room and where my desk is here, and apparently I'm so out of shape that I can't even do that without getting breathless. So you'll just have to bear with me a little bit if I slow down partway through the video. It's just because I'm getting my breath back because I'm very, very unfit, very, very unhealthy. Anyway, welcome back to Transport Fever 2. Now this footage here was recorded before the update. I'm recording this on the Thursday, the 12th. The update was released on Tuesday, the 10th. I haven't tried it yet. I watched the release video and I've read the patch notes, and it's all very awesome and very, very exciting. And I will be getting on with that for next week's video, no problem. And actually, I recorded this video forgetting that the update was coming this week. So I could have used it as a good excuse, saying, you know, I recorded it as a time lapse just to make sure that I had something ready for you guys in case the update broke the game. No, I completely forgot that the update was happening. I just did this because I wanted to. This is to do with the connections little project that I've been working on for the last, well, it started last week and it carries through to this week, where basically we're in the late game now in terms of this series, which could change potentially as we unlock more vehicles, because we're only in, is that 1940? I want to say 8 or 2 or 5. It's not actually obvious. My the way I've got Premiere set up is it lowers the resolution when I'm watching the footage here, so it doesn't like crash on me basically. So you'll have to excuse me if I can't read numbers and things on the screen. That's why I'm always guessing. You can also see we're absolutely loaded in the bottom corner as well. So I don't think any economic crashes or anything are going to happen, but you can't be too careful in this game, as I've learned the hard way many times in its predecessor. So I'm not counting my chickens just yet. Any more cliches I can throw in? An apple away. A doctor a day keeps the apple away. I was about to say then. No, that doesn't even. No, I'm not even going to go there. So yeah, this was recorded before the update. Next week's episode will go through the update, and this week's episode is all about connections. That's where I was going with this. So this is all about the project we started last week, which was connecting up industries and towns and things like that. So last week was Paulton-le-Fylde, and we connected that up to the freight logistics network. We already had the passenger train running, but now we've got that little freight train that's running as well. This week is actually sort of passengers again. There's a little bit of freight involved, but it's mostly passengers. This week is seeing the rebuild of Maltby Parkway. You could probably work that out by now, considering, you know, we're at Maltby and we're doing the rebuild of the Parkway station. Now, for me, this is the only Parkway station on the map. There are other stations that are outside the town limits, as it were, but this is the only one that I would consider to be a proper Parkway. It's a full junction. It's very big. It's very nice. I'm a big fan of it. I built it, so I have to be a big fan of it. Although I say that, there's loads of things I've built in the past that I absolutely despise. So, you know, not necessarily a fan of everything that I do. But this one I'm a fan of, and I really like this rebuild. I do have one gripe, which might have been fixed with the update, so I might check it out again. But I ran into a station size limit issue, and I went on Steam, onto the forums, and I even had a little look on Reddit, and there are some mods that allow you to increase the size of stations, the maximum size of stations, and you can have, it says up to 100 by 100 or 99 by 99, depending on what mod you download. It didn't work. You know that problem I had many episodes ago where it came up with, you know, check the error log. It just kept throwing up that message every time I tried to increase the size of the station. And even if I built a brand new station, it kept saying that. So I don't know whether it's because you have to have it in the game from the start, or whether there's just an issue that may or may not have now been fixed with the update. I couldn't use it, basically, which is really, really annoying. So I had to scrap that idea, and we ended up building 2 stations. So the one you see me building here, this is Maltby Parkway South Station. And it's basically all the slow platforms. By that I mean the stopping service platforms, and the fast service platforms as well, the express platforms, are all on this side of the station. Then we have a gap. Ignore the cargo platforms at the top there. This is where I ran into the size limit. So in a second you'll see that the footage does pause for a second. This is me doing some Googling, and then eventually we'll jump forward again and we'll have a second station built. So yeah, part 1 is the southern part, which is all passenger. And then the second part of it is extra passenger lines, some extra passenger platforms, which we'll talk about in a second, and then the cargo side of things. Personally, I don't like the fact that I had to split it into 2. That's kind of annoying. But ultimately, I had to do it. Basically, I had to do it. Maybe in the future, if I can get that mod working, I'll come back and rebuild this again and make it all one station. It shouldn't be too difficult to rebuild. Most of the track work could remain in situ. I just have to make a couple of tweaks here and there. But yeah, we've got... I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think it's 4 bay platforms on the western side, or 2 bay platforms on the western side. 4 bay platforms on the western side, I think, and 3. Oh, hang on, it might be 3 and 2. 3 bay platforms on the western side, 2 on the eastern side, and then I've got some through platforms as well on the slow lines that can also be used to terminate trains. On the fast lines, I've got 4 through platforms, of which 2 are meant to be west to east, but can also serve trains heading in the opposite direction, and vice versa for the other pair. And then the 2 in the middle, there's 4 terminating platforms, 2 in the west, 2 in the east, and as I said, they're bay platforms, they're for terminating trains. And I like that. I think that's good. It's a rare thing these days. Edinburgh Waverley is one that springs to mind immediately, and I think Darlington has this layout as well still. But it is quite rare these days to have a station with bay platforms in the centre, and then through platforms either side. I'm struggling to remember everything. I had a whole thing laid out as to what I was going to say in this episode, and I've forgotten like 90% of it already, which is just great, isn't it? But yeah, I like this layout. I think it does work well. The whole through platform, bay platform arrangement, I think, does work well as well. He says as well. I'm just not even speaking English at this point. This part is just literally me placing platforms and stuff, so it's not that interesting anyway. We do have this additional platform that you see me build there. So this is the northern side. This is for branch line services. Might as well tell you that now. And again, I hit the size capacity, which I guess it's to do with the length as well. But if you see the size of this station compared to the first one I built, they're the same length. And yet this one I can only build this many tracks. Now, it does say cargo platforms count as 2 platforms as opposed to just 1, and that might be one reason why if you add cargo platforms your station size is restricted, but I still think it's a little annoying that you can only build a station so big with all of this oh my god, what am I trying to say, guys? You can only build a station so big with cargo platforms in it. That's what I'm trying to say. And again, if I can get that mod working, if anyone out there has got that mod working, I can't remember the name of it, unfortunately, otherwise I'll tell you now. But if anyone's got that mod working, please, please, please do let me know how you did it. Whether it was witchcraft, whether it was a sacrifice to the gods, I don't care at this point. I just want that mod to work so that I can actually go through and build this station how I want to build it, basically. But yeah, rebuilding Maltby Parkway gave me the opportunity to do something else that's been annoying me for goodness knows how long. And that's rebuild this approach here. Now, I liked the approach in principle. I liked the idea of having the flyover, especially just before the tunnel. It really reminds me of the approach to King's Cross, which I tried to build that on OpenTTD and wasn't able to do it because it's very hard to build the kind of setup that King's Cross has on OpenTTD. It's very, very difficult. So, wasn't too upset that I wasn't able to do it there. But here, this is basically a 3D OpenTTD. So the opportunity to do it here was one that I just could not turn down. So again, I'm glad that I got it to work. You'll also notice here that I built this approach and then realized I'd built it onto the wrong tracks. So I had to go through and do it again. That's just me being a derp. You'll have to excuse me being a derp. It does happen from time to time, believe it or not. Not my finest moments, I'll admit, but there we go. It is now working. So the flyovers are awesome. I love them so much. And the dive under, the flyover / dive under on the other side, it's fine. It's not the worst. But there is something else that I build here. I build a new, slight spoiler alert, towards the end of the episode, I build a new train depot. So we got one at Richmond, which is at one end of this huge network that we've been building here. And now we've got one at the other end up here at Maltby, which I'm very, very happy about. And it looks really good. You'll see it in a bit. I got some more eye candy stuff that I could be placing down in there. But for now, it looks really good. I'm very, very happy with it. And then, yeah, we've built the fast line approaches. Now it's time to build the slow line approaches. Again, it kind of allows me to flex my creative muscles a little bit here. And see what kind of things I can actually do. I already had the existing, framework with the flyover and everything associated with that. So it was just a case of building the, again, just forgotten everything I was going to say. I'm just watching what I'm doing here, and I might as well just commentate on what I'm doing here, to be honest, because it'll probably be simpler. But yeah, we got the slow lines are going in now. Got these big complex junctions, which I'm a huge fan of, especially when they work, which doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's great. You can see I'm fighting here with the track tool. The realistic slopes mod is great still, don't get me wrong. I do love when it works. When it doesn't work, it is the biggest pain in the arse you can imagine. And when it comes up saying too much slope on some of these things, it is very, very frustrating. But as you saw there, we got the junctions in, which I'm happy about. Now, this section, yeah, I make a little change here, a little tweak. We end up building a second flyover. This is for freight trains that are accessing the cargo platforms. However, it's also going to be used for passenger trains that are also going to be heading down the branch lines. And I've been watching a lot of videos of Beaconscott Model Village recently, for no real reason other than, I like Beaconscott. It's somewhere I used to go a lot as a kid. It's somewhere I'd very much like to go back to in the future. And I was thinking about the Evenlode branch. If anyone's been to Beaconscott, you'll know what I'm talking about. And how the branch line there breaks off from the main line at the signal box. And that's what I was trying to do here. I was trying to build like a series of junctions that allowed this to happen, like made it possible, basically. And this was the best I could come up with, which is this set of, it's like a double flyover. So you've got the original flyover that we had for the slow lines, and then you've got this second one here, which is for freight trains. Now, realistically, I don't think freight trains would be able to combat this slope very well. But in terms of the game, it seems to work, so I'm going to stick with it. That sheer rock wall section there, I think I might rebuild that with a bridge just to make it look a little bit nicer. Same on this side. I kind of used the up ramp there and then the down ramp to get that track up and over. I think I have to rebuild the road here as well. Yeah, look, because that bridge wasn't quite wide enough for it to fit. But good news is everything is connected. That's the really good news. At the end of this episode, everything is connected and everything's working, because I had some little branch line trains, little auto trains shuffling backwards and forwards. Obviously, I used the pannier tank. Obviously, it's illegal not to, let's be honest. And I got it working, which is great. And right here, these are some of my favourite junctions you're about to see me build here. The ones where a station was built and a junction was built to get trains in and out of that station. And then over time, more lines have been added to that station, which means the junction has to be rebuilt. And in some cases, they just scrap the junction and start again from scratch. And in some cases, like here at Maltby, they add existing junctions. Sorry, they add new junctions to the existing junctions. And that's what I tried to do here. So you will see this track here. Oh, this is where I had the too much slope error. And you can see the way I fixed that there. And then this one branches round as well. And then we start creating crossover points to get trains in and out of the station in all directions. And again, pleased to say, it appears to work, which is awesome. And I'm actually trying to remember. Oh, did I do it like that? I think I did it like that. Or I might have changed it slightly. that possibly works. If not, I do go and make some tweaks and stuff like that. Oh yeah, no, I do rebuild it. There we go. That's how I did it. Yeah. And then this is the first branch line. Now this one is probably the messier of the two, in that I had to go up and over this pretty big hill. And then I think, is it Dorking in the distance there? I can't actually remember the name of the town. I think it's Dorking. And oh boy, was this a slog. You see, we go right up to the top of the hill. We go through the tunnel there. And then we start sloping down. And I thought we were coming to a pretty decent level to have a station. And it turned out I couldn't be more wrong. We were still miles up at the top. And, you know, I've got the track sloping down pretty steeply at this point. And I'm still struggling to get it down to an acceptable level. So the solution is I built an elevated station, which you'll see me build now. Any second now. There we go. And then we build the roadway up to the station. And I think it works. I have a little bus loop there. We got some buses running from the town centre up to the station. And I think it works. And that's the main thing. You know, trains can now get up and down the slope fairly realistically. Again, there are some gradients that I think might be a little too much still. But the track doesn't finish sloping down until we get almost, I think it's Ely, it might be Totten. Again, I can't remember what order these towns come in. But yeah, basically right up until the final town up here is where we finally stop going up the gradient, which is just crazy when you think about it. These gradients are pretty severe. So we've got the panniers, because again, it's illegal to have an auto train without a pannier in charge of it, or an auto tank. I'm trying to remember what they are. Is it the 14XX? They're pretty good ones too, but I love an auto train with a pannier in front, or behind, or in the middle, depending on where it is. I think those are the best, for sure. Some people will probably disagree with me. We'll agree to disagree on this one, I think, because I don't want to say you're wrong, but, you know, you're wrong. And then, yeah, connecting the street up here to the town, put a little bus stop outside. We've got the existing bus stations here from when we've got the buses that connect up all the towns. And I think from that we're going to extend... Well, this one here we do extend the bus. Actually, I don't think this one had a bus line, so we build a bus line. And then we work from there. Now I'm connecting up the other side of Maltby. Because again, I finished that branch line and I thought, almost done. And then I realised I hadn't done anything on this side of the station. So I was like, oh crap, yeah, gotta go do that now. The fast platforms here, the junction is pretty much identical. The slow platforms, again, I think the platform arrangement and the junction arrangement is pretty much identical. The only exception, just moving this bus depot as well. I think I will move that again at some point, but it's fine for now. The only exception is the flyover on this side, which we do still have one, of course. I don't like this side as much, and again, it's a bit like coming down that hill from Dorking. I'm just going to call it Dorking, even if it isn't. Yeah, coming down off the hill here, it takes a long time to reach the right level, and it's because the track below is also sloping away, so it takes a really, really long time to hit the right gradient. Where the track below isn't also sloping away. But it does happen. We do reach it. We build the little section there. And then, yeah, I need to know where the main track went so that I could build the linking track. And it just goes and 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 goes. And it's pretty much the bridge to Seaford before we finally connect up. And it's fine. You know, it's not the most annoying thing ever. But given the opportunity, I think I would disable the realistic slopes mod just to get this bit in. Sorry if I sound like I was really distant then, by the way. I just got a message from work that I had to check. Again, never clock off on this job. I love it. It's a very, very good job. But at the same time, you never clock off. Always working. And I always get in trouble for working more than I should be. But yeah, what can you do? Anyway, Seaford. So we've got this new double track section here. So the line from Seaford down through Hereford and Harrow, I think I am going to quad track it. We're at that stage now where I think that's what we're going to have to do to get trains running. Especially because we're going to have a lot more freight trains running through here in the future. So it makes sense to have those on the outer lines and then have the passenger trains on the inner lines, or at least the faster trains on the inner lines. But yeah, this section here, we've got one on both sides technically. So the first flyover that we built on the other side in this episode, that's phase 1 of this. And again, it's not just for freight trains, it's also to get passenger trains that are then serving the branch. And this one was also a bit of a nightmare to build because I forgot twice that I needed to lower the slope. But once I remembered to do it, it worked a lot better. And I think here as well, you'll see that I suddenly realized that these through tracks don't have anywhere to go. So I connect those up. And also the freight platforms weren't connected. So I had to go and do those as well. And then we start building another branch line here. We're going to have a branch line station at Maltby, which I think is just called Maltby East because I'm really boring like that. And then we build another junction a little further up the line. And basically all these towns up in this part of the map are now connected up to the rest of the network here, which, you know, I wanted to do it just through buses and road vehicles and things like that, but it gets to a point where they're just not transporting enough people. And even with line manager set up, line manager only purchases new vehicles if the line saturation demands it, and more often than not it won't, because it's just one station that is exceeding demand. So it doesn't auto purchase new vehicles, which is fine. Again, I don't have a problem with that. I think that's the mod is working as intended. It's certainly not broken, and they have updated it since. But when I first downloaded it or subscribed to it, there were warnings that said, if your line has one stop that's got 300 passengers waiting and all the rest only have 10, it won't buy new vehicles based on that, because that's poor line distribution. It's got nothing to do with needing more vehicles necessarily. So I've been very vigilant when I've been building these lines that we don't end up in that situation. I'd like to think that I've prevented that from happening, but that's not for me to say. And yeah, I think it's fine. I think we're in a good place with this now. So we've got the buses and the trains working side by side, and likewise we'll have we'll have trucks and trains working side by side to transport as many materials as possible across the map. And I think that'll work out quite well. I would also like to use a little bit more water transport around this part of the map, because Seaford especially is basically on an island. So we'll get that connected up somehow. And also, connecting these freight platforms up to the main running lines as well. Probably didn't need to do this, but I've done it anyway. So the tracks here that I'm putting the signals on now, that one needed to be done, because that was trains from the branch line accessing the main running line. But the freight one probably didn't need to be done, but I did it anyway, because why the hell not? But yeah, logistics, conveying as much stuff across the map as possible. That's basically what this series was always about. It was about connecting up every town, every industry, just everything, really. And I'd like to think we've achieved that. And like I was saying, we'll get more ship traffic out as well, particularly from Seaford, maybe down as far as Newton Aycliffe, places like that, and maybe even beyond as well. Sorry if you just heard the door shut there as well. There's a breeze blowing through and it blew the door open, so just had to push it shut quickly. And then, yeah, routing the trains into the new platforms, which, again, is also very... I know the design works when I see trains arriving and departing and they're not getting in each other's way. Now, we have got a few flat junctions here, which could cause some problems. But, thankfully, with the new update this year, I can set reserved platforms. So if one platform is occupied by a train, then the service can use a secondary platform. Maybe even a tertiary. I think right now it's just one alternative you can have. That might get boosted in the future, who knows. But I still think it's awesome that that's a thing. And then the final part of this part of the episode, at least, is setting the freight trains to run through here for the first time ever. Maltby actually has freight platforms. I think right now they don't actually get used much, because right now I don't think... Oh my god, the camera glitch there was awful. I don't know if that's just on Premiere or if you guys are seeing that as well, but that is... I think I was just moving the camera around a lot. And yeah, almost gave myself motion sickness then. That's crazy. Yeah, we haven't got the trucks and stuff connected up yet. However, what I think I might do for these branch lines especially. So you see we got, is that Gainsborough? Or is that, is it Guisborough? I think you pronounce it, Guisborough. I don't actually know how you pronounce that. I'm going to say Guisborough for now and hope that's right. You see there I've put the little cargo platform in. And the plan for this is to use very short branch line goods trains. And basically go back to, if you watch things like the Railway Children and the Titfield Thunderbolt, you'll see occasionally they have these passenger trains that have like 1 or 2 goods wagons attached to the back. And that's basically what we're going to run here. So we're going to have dedicated passenger services along this line, but we will have very, very short goods trains as well that will shuttle backwards and forwards. And they'll start off at the freight station, the freight platform, sorry, at Maltby Parkway. They'll pick up the goods that have been dropped off by the other trains, and they'll carry them to these towns. And then possibly, if we connect the industries up as well, we'll have services running in the opposite way, bringing stuff back to Maltby Parkway to then be picked up by another train to be taken on to somewhere else, wherever it might be. This line, as you can see, it's a bit snaky. It's not the most straight line ever. That's part of the design. It's, these are branch lines. They're not supposed to be, 75 mile an hour running speeds necessarily. They're supposed to be slow. And you see here we've got this magnificent viaduct there, which I actually left in as part of the design. And then it connects up to the main line. I say the main line, the branch line, but it's 2-track branch line. I could reduce it to 1 track with passing loops, but it is what it is. And then, yeah, it's a fully functioning line right now. We'll have trains running on it shortly. And I just like it. I think it's come out really, really well. And, watching trains running backwards and forwards. I'm in this dilemma right now where I just want to sit and watch trains running on these lines all day, but I can't, because obviously if the game's running to allow the trains to run, then the game's also running in terms of the economic model, and, I could pause time progressing, so I won't unlock new vehicles, but the company will be gaining and losing money. And I could just run it and then quit without saving, I suppose, but I don't know. I tried to keep this as transparent as possible, this series, and that means, not just sitting for hours watching trains and stuff like that. Something tells me there is one town that I missed out when I was building these branch lines. Maybe there is. If there is, I'll find a way to connect it up still, I'm sure. But otherwise, all these towns in this area that were previously connected by bus and or tram only are now also connected by train, which is a huge progression from where we were at the start of this episode. And I think we're at this, because now I've got the auto trains running, I know how to make them work, and the money is just flowing in. We've got so much money right now. I am careful with expenses. You can see my earnings right now is significantly negative. That is partially because I've just built a really expensive new infrastructure project. There's also some other things going on, new vehicles, new running costs, stuff like that. But oh yeah, the buses here at Maltby also get redirected to run via this new railway station as well, which means, losing the old one, but that's fine. The old bus stop, that is, not the old railway station. That's fine. It's part of the, progression of society, as it were. Civilization, as it changes, things get moved. Yeah, the new running costs, that's what I was trying to say. So there is a chance that this money will, nosedive. Hopefully it doesn't, but we'll see. I will keep a close eye on it, because, again, we might have to do some cost-cutting measures. Obviously, I don't want to just be running what is essentially unlimited money once you get to a certain point, but at the same time I also don't want to be scrabbling around trying to cut costs. So swings and roundabouts. You have to excuse me again, I need to shut this door because it's doing my head in. There we go. Most professionals would put a cut in there, but professional I am not. Someone actually called me an amateur in the comments of a racing games video recently, which I found hilarious, because the definition of an amateur is doing something and not being paid for it. And I get paid to make those videos, so by definition alone, I am a professional videographer now. But yeah, not to be pedantic or anything, but screw it. Why not? So yeah, doing these lines. So we've got 3 branch lines. that we've established. One runs from Maltby Parkway up to, I believe it's Ely via Dorking. One runs to, I think it's Totton via Guysborough and Maltby. And then one runs to, oh no wait, Totton I think is the secondary branch off the primary branch. There's a final one that runs down the, it runs again from Maltby, but it runs to the little one-track branch line that we, single-track branch line, sorry, not one-track, that we built just now as well. And then this is the final part of the project, which is a new train depot, like I said. So we've got carriage sidings on one side, and then we've got the loco shed on the other. As usual, I build me sidings way too long. I've turned into Popeye, apparently. I've built my sidings way too long, so I had to shorten them slightly. But I like this. I think I really like this, especially with the way the track wraps around it. So you have to access the sidings here and the depot from the branch line. So if you're coming from Seaford, you can't actually access this. I might get around that by building a new loop, which trains will have to navigate incredibly slowly, but it will mean that they can access the depot here. So if I ever turn line manager on again for excuse me, if I ever turn line manager on again for trains, you will be able to see trains coming out of here as well as out of Richmond and also down at Holsworthy, which, to be honest, I might get rid of the one down at Holsworthy now, because I believe you can access Holsworthy from both here and Richmond. You might have to go all the way around the loop, which isn't the most convenient thing to do, but it could be worse. It could be a lot worse, believe me. But yeah, this is... Oh, so the actual depot goes in right here at the back as well. Now, I've had to put some signals in. They're not one-way signals, they are two-way signals, but it's designed in such a way that trains shouldn't be able to deadlock each other or gridlock each other. But I needed to make sure that trains could actually queue up to get out of... Well, yeah, to get out of here, basically, because they were struggling. There's a big queue forming out of the depot, especially when you spawn loads of trains at once. It's not going to be a problem in the future, but when I first got the trains running here, it was a bit of a nightmare, so just try to avoid that from happening. And one last thing. Right now, I haven't done this yet, but I'm tempted to convert all of my trains to GWR stock only, because you should all know by now, I love the GWR. The engines are gorgeous, the carriages, the history of it, you know, Brunel, Gooch, people like that. So I want it to be purely GWR stock. So I think eventually I will remove the other mods and just focus on the GWR rolling stock. But I don't know. Maybe I won't jump to that conclusion just yet. But it's tempting. Believe me, it's tempting. But that is basically it for this episode. It was a huge project in the end. I recorded this over the span of about 3 or 4 days. Sort of did an hour here and 20 minutes there, whatever it might have been. And even now, there's things watching this back where I'm kind of like, didn't really finish that how I wanted to. So I'm going to go back and redo that a little bit. And then I'm going to go tweak this bit. And then I'm going to go and swap that bit out. So there's plenty more that I can do here still. But this felt like a good place to leave it for now. And it's something that, like I said, once I've got more eye candy mods or assets, I will come back and give this another pass. The main thing is, you know, like I said, everything works. The new branch lines work. The station design seems to work so far. It's not that busy yet. And there are things that I've learned from here that I could potentially use on other stations across the network. We'll see. But yeah, thank you very much everyone for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you enjoyed the series so far. Drop those comments down below with ideas for future episodes. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. That really helps me out too. Enjoy the rest of your week. There's only a day and a bit left, so definitely enjoy the rest of your week. Have a very good weekend as well. And until next time, I will see you soon.